He spent 438 days lost at sea. No food, no water, and no way to call for help. He spent 438 days drifting across the Pacific Ocean. No engine, no communication, no way to call for help. And somehow, he managed to survive. In November 2012, Salvador Alvarenga, an experienced fisherman, left the coast of Mexico on what should have been a routine fishing trip. He had done this many times before. The ocean was familiar to him, predictable, or at least it seemed that way. That morning felt normal. The boat, small but reliable, the kind of trip he had done countless times. Nothing suggested that this time would be different. But just hours after leaving shore, the weather began to change. The sky darkened. The wind picked up, faster than expected. And then, the storm hit. Waves began crashing violently into the boat. The ocean, once calm, turned into chaos. Water poured over the sides. The engine struggled and then failed. The radio stopped working. And just like that, he was completely alone. No GPS, no direction, no way to contact anyone. Just the open Pacific Ocean, stretching endlessly in every direction. At first, he wasn't alone. A young fisherman, Ezequiel Cordoba, was with him. Together they tried to stay calm. They rationed what little food they had. They waited, hoping someone would come. The first days were filled with hope. They believed rescue would arrive. It had to, but as the days turned into weeks, that hope began to fade. No boats, no planes, no signs of life. Food ran out first, then came the real problem: water. Without fresh water, the human body begins to shut down, slowly, painfully, to stay alive. Alvarenga had to adapt. He began catching fish with his bare hands, raw, slippery, difficult. But it worked. He ate whatever he could: fish, birds, anything that landed near the boat. When it rained, he collected water. Every drop mattered. But when the rain didn't come, the suffering became unbearable. Days under the burning sun, nights in freezing darkness, no shelter, no escape. As the weeks turned into months, the ocean began to take its toll, both physically and mentally. Cordoba grew weaker. He struggled to eat. He lost hope. And eventually, his body gave up. He didn't survive. And just like that, Alvarenga was completely alone in the middle of the ocean, with no idea if he would ever see land again. The isolation was overwhelming. Days blended into each other. Time stopped making sense. He began talking to himself, replaying memories, imagining conversations, anything to avoid losing his mind. The silence was constant, broken only by the sound of the waves, and sometimes not even that. Sharks circled the boat, watching, waiting. The sun burned his skin every day. Blisters formed. His body weakened. Hunger never left. It became a constant companion, something he learned to live with. Every single day was a fight to stay alive. But somehow, he kept going. He created routines, small actions, repeated every day, anything to maintain a sense of control. He thought about his past, his family, his life before the ocean, and that thought kept him alive. Months passed, more than he could count. At some point, he stopped thinking about time altogether. There was only survival, nothing else. Then, after 438 days at sea, something changed. In the distance, he saw something different. Not waves, not sky, land. A small island, barely visible on the horizon. At first, it didn't feel real, but it was. With almost no strength left, he drifted toward it. Every movement, painful, every second uncertain. But slowly, he got closer, and eventually, he made it. When he reached land, he could barely stand. His body was severely dehydrated, malnourished, weak beyond anything most people can imagine. But alive. After 14 months lost in the Pacific Ocean, Salvador Alvarenga survived, one of the longest survival stories ever recorded at sea. A story that doesn't just show survival, but endurance, mental strength, and the extreme limits of the human body. A reminder that even in the most impossible situations, survival is still possible.